Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. This is Dia. Now I'm going to present chapter 12 about confidentiality and privacy control. Okay. So after studying, this is the learning objective. Students should be able to describe the control that can be used to protect confidentiality and privacy of a personal information, and then discuss the GAPP framework that provides guidance in developing a comprehensive approach to protecting privacy. And then third, discuss how differentiate between encryption system and hashing. Then fourth, explain how to create digital signature and of course digital certificate to create legally enforceable contract. And then five, discuss about the blockchain. So this is the new one. Blockchain is the new technology for information in accounting, especially in money, of course. This is the protecting confidentiality and privacy. As we can see in the figure 12.1, there are four components of this confidentiality and privacy. First is the identify and classify what kind of information that have to be protected as a document, confidential document. Second, how to encrypt to protect digital document. And then third, about the access control. And four, of course, people must be trained to be able to do this kind of work. Okay, most organization has a sensitive information such as strategic plan, secret, cost information, and so on. And the intellectual property, it is often very crucial for the organization to be able to sustain or sustainable or going concern in the competitive advantage, and then will have a success. And then the basic objective for information security is preserving confidentiality of the organization, such as intellectual property or similar information shared with the business partner. We can learn about it later. This is the first component of the privacy, how to protect confidentiality and privacy. The first one, we have to identify where such information resides and who has access to it. So we have to know what kind of information that we have to protect and who has this information. And then to classify if the information is very valuable to the organization. Like for example, here there is a manufacturing firm who employ automatization factory in a large scale. Then the system instruction may provide significant cost advantage or product quality. So if the system instruction is content with the quality of the product, this can be get by the competitor, so therefore they have to be protected. Okay. And then two, protecting sensitive information with encryption. Now there is the only way to protect information, because information in this digital age are transit for transfer between parties over the internet. So the most tool to protect is using encryption. Encryption is a necessary part of the defense in depth to protect information stored on website or in public cloud. So this is encryption. They can protect the transfer of the information, and then second, the store of the information. For example, many firms has created secure portals. These secure portals they can use because there is a sensitive information for audit, tax or other information with client. So encrypting information stored in public cloud is to protect in the event there is an unauthorized access to the portal stored information. So like in this sentence, the last sentence, encryption only protect information while it is stored or it is being transferred. And the weakness of this encryption is it cannot protect it when the information is being processed or displayed in the monitor or printed in a report, because it is a hard copy. If it is hard copy, it is rather difficult to protect it if the employee are careless. They are not aware that they have to be very careful with confidential document. Third, there is the control for the access to sensitive information. There are some tools that can be used. This is software. First, we can use software information right management. The software is offered to limit access to specific file or document. And also it can also be limited for a limited time, such as specific period. And then data loss prevention. The software works as an antivirus program where the system works to block outgoing messages like email, instant messages, and so on that contain of the keywords of risk associated with intellectual property. So data loss prevention is also fair like antivirus, yeah. And then the third is digital watermark. This is a code that embedded in the document, so an organization will enable to identify whether the confidential information is disclosed. And then data masking or tokenization. This is protecting privacy by replacing sensitive information with fake data, also called tokenization. Okay, this is the last one. And then for COVID 2019 about management practice, the AIS 010506 discuss the need control in the physical access. So even though the information is not like merchandise or something, it is only an information, but there is a sensitive if we cannot physically document it privately, so someone may get the hard copy and use it for their advantage. Next component of protecting, the last component is training. When the company have a threat, so the company have to make a policy, and then of course for the employee to understand and to do as according to the policy, they have to know what information they can share with others. So they will be very careful when they have a hard copy of the of a classified document. And then second, how to protect sensitive data. Okay, with a proper training, hopefully employee can play in protecting the confidentiality of the company's information and the privacy of the sensitive employee personal information. Okay, and the privacy of the user's internet, it is also regulated by the government, such as in Europe there is a GDPR in Europe and US law, which is similar to GDPR. GDPR means General Data Privacy Regulation, that impose a huge fine or charges for who obtaining without consent, obtaining information, private information without consent. That the fine is 4% for the global revenues. And then similar to GDPR is CCPA, California Consumer Privacy Act. It is 2018, and also HIPAA, HITECH, and there's also a bill about how to impose specific requirements organization to protect privacy for the customer personal information. And then the generally accepted privacy principle, there is 10 principles about it. The first is management, whereas the organization must establish a set of procedure and policies in protecting the privacy of personal information from their customer. So they cannot provide the customer information for the third parties, because there is a regulation about that. And then a notice, organization must provide notice about their policy in practicing and collecting personal information from the customer. Maybe you can see it when you open or when you subscribe to a website. There is an agreement that inside the agreement, if you read it all, this agreement inside is about how companies will protect and notice about your or customer information. And then third is choice and consent. So organization should explain the choices available to individual, such as when company we open a website for the first time, there is a cookie that we must click, and sometimes there is a button that say that you can set what kind of cookies that you want to accept. There is a opt-out and opt-in. Opt-out means refer to implicit consent. Implicit means companies can assume it is okay to collect the use of customer personal information unless they explicitly object. So implicit means it is not written, but when the customer agree with the agreement, when they first time open the website, implicitly they consent, customer consent that a company can collect the use of customer information. And opt-in refer to explicit consent, because the organization cannot collect use customer information unless they explicitly agree to allow such action. Such as when you open a new website, sometimes when you want to download or to use location or something like that, the application will ask you first whether you want to allow the company to, so they know where have you been, if you allow them to know your location. And then fourth is collection. Organization should collect only the information needed. This is like the cookies as I said before. A text file created by a website that will be stored in visitor's hard drive. So when we agree to the cookies, so the cookies can see what we do with our laptop or computer when we go to their website. And with this kind of information, the organization can understand what kind of information needed by the customer. And then use retention and disposal. So the use, retention and disposal, the most important thing is the disposal. Since if the company don't need again the information, so the company must make a precaution or take a precaution that the disposal or the deletion, deleted, when they deleted the information of the customer, they must delete all the information. So they cannot delete some of the customer information, but they have to delete it all. And then the access. Organizations should provide individuals with the ability to access, review, or correct the personal information stored about them. So if we open a new website and then we register to this website, we often can update our profile. So it depends on us. It depends on us what kind of information we want to open in their website. And then about disclosure to third parties. Companies should disclose their customer personal information only if the situation and manners described in the privacy policy, and only the third party will provide the same level of privacy protection. So if the company want to open to the third parties, maybe to their relation about it is, if it is in the same website but a different kind of information or different kind of different kind of website, so the other parties have to make the same privacy policies. And then the security, the eighth one is the security must take reasonable step to protect customer personal information from loss or unauthorized disclosure. There is various preventive, detective, and corrective control as discussed in the chapter 11, the chapter before this one, to restrict access to the customer personal information. So the security is very important, so that the personal information cannot be accessed by unauthorized parties. And then 9, the quality. Organizations should maintain the integrity of their customer personal information. I'm sorry, my alarm goes on. And employ a procedure to ensure it is reasonably accurate. So the integrity of the personal information, and again must be secured, and it is only about the real or not a fake information that stored. And then 10, monitoring and enforcement. Organization must periodically verify that their employees are comply with stated privacy policies. So in the organization, the employee who can access to the customer personal information must be secured with a policy that they cannot open the information to the public, and if they do that, they have to be fined or charges about it. And then why this is important about the privacy, because identity theft is now gaining more broader and larger. That is assuming someone's identity for economic gain. For example, a perpetrator can obtain loan or open new credit card in the victim's name and sometimes loot the victim's bank account. I have already have experience about it. That is, my credit card was used by another person, and I was charged like $800 and I don't even know what transaction is that. So I asked the bank to close, to restrict my credit card, and I don't want to pay for $800 since it is not my transaction. And I think it is a Mandiri bank, and then they make some investigation about it, and then I was clear that it is not my transaction. This is identity theft. And what should we do to prevent this kind of exposed to the risk exposed like that? One of that we can use is encryption. Encryption is a preventive control that can be used to protect both confidentiality and privacy. As you can see in this figure 12.2, step in encryption and decryption process. So the first, when there is a plain text, and the plain text will be encrypted with algorithm, and then the plain text become a cheaper text, which is like gibberish. We can gibberish means we cannot read it since it is not a sentence or a word. It is some kind of word and jumble like that. And then there's a second key for that, to decrypt algorithm, and then the cheaper text become the plain text as the same as the first before it is being encrypted. So the encryption protect data while it is in transit over the internet and provide one last barrier for unauthorized access to stored information. So before it is the encryption is protected for the in-transit information. And then encryption strengthen the authentication procedure, essentially because the receiver has to get the key to open from the zipper. I think so. It is important for accountants, auditors, and assistants to understand about encryption. Step in the encryption process. First, encryption. The process transforming normal text, that is a plain text, called plain text, into an unreadable gibberish called ciphertext. And then after that, it is encrypted to the ciphertext and then decrypted and begin again, and then back again into the plain text. This is an encryption process. Okay, what is factors that influence encryption strength? First is the key length. So the longer the encrypted key, the protection is heavier, or it is more protected. It is more protected with the longer key encryption. So encrypted keys are at least 259 bits long, correspond to 32 English letter. 32 English letter. If it takes 6 bits, so 6 times 32 is 256. Often it is longer to a bit longer, like this one, 1000. And then the encryption algorithm. The algorithm to make the encryption, must be tested before it is going to be used. The algorithm must be tested first. So the company should not make their own, since it is not being tested first. The company should purchase product that use widely accepted standard algorithm whose strength has been proven. So the company should not make their own encryption key, but algorithm to algorithm encryption, but they have to purchase it, because when the purchase for it is widely used, because the strength has been proven. And then the last thing, the factor that influence encryption strength is policies for managing and cryptographic keys. So the management of cryptographic keys is often the most vulnerable aspect of encryption system. Cryptographic keys, it must be stored securely and protected with strong access method or controls. This practice include not storing cryptographic keys in a browser or any other file that other users of the system can readily access, and use a strong and long passphrase to protect the keys. So the password again, this must be very long, and use many. Sometimes there's a letter, capital letter, and then number or any other symbol. The sound policies for proceeding for revoking keys should be issued only to employees who handle sensitive data. So not all employees can access to these keys, and the employees must be under the protection also, that the employee cannot open or use the keys for other purposes. Important to promptly revoke or cancel keys when employee leaves. So when the employee leaves, the employee who handle the sensitive data, if he or she leaves the company, so the keys must be immediately revoked or cancelled. Notify everyone who has relied upon those keys that they are no longer valid. This is very important. When the employee is not working again in the company, so the keys must be deleted, and then of course all employees in the company has to be notified. This type of encryption system, there is a symmetric encryption system and asymmetric encryption system. The difference is symmetric only have one key, but asymmetric system has two keys. Both has a disadvantage and disadvantage. You may read it in the table 12.1, the comparison between these two. And symmetric encryption system, it is use the same key both to encrypt and to decrypt. Jadi from plain text to ciphertext to the plain text again, there is only one key, but asymmetric encryption use two keys, one public and the other is for private. Either key can encrypt, but only the other matching key can decrypt. Okay, what is the public key and private key? Public key is one of the keys used in asymmetric encryption system. It is widely distributed and available to everyone. So when public key is known to everyone, while private key is only one key used in an encryption system. Asymmetric encryption system, it is kept secret and known only the owner of the pair of the public and private keys. And key escrow is the storing of the copy of the encryption key. There is also a regulation about it. There is a standard for these keys. First standard is AIS. AIS is Advanced Encryption Standard, and RSA, Reverse Samir Adelman Standard. This key, RSA for asymmetric, AIS for asymmetric. This is a standard for encrypting using same algorithm encryption. This is the example of the encryption and decryption process. Okay, there are two keys here. So this is a asymmetric encryption, which is Alice write a message for Bob. In order to make sure that only Bob can look this message, Alice encrypt using Bob's public key. And then Bob receives the message In order for him to see Alice's message, Bob using his private key. So there is Bob have a public key, Pookie, this is public key. Messages are sent by Alice using public key. Public key is Bob. Then Bob decrypt the message using his private key. This is the process. And what is VPN? VPN is one of the tool or the media that can use to the internet. Yeah, this is like here in the figure 12.3. The VPN will make the connection between parties in the internet is more secure because they are using the encrypted tunnel by VPN. So VPN is using encryption and authentication to secure transfer information over the internet. So the VPN creating a virtual private network, something like that. And two basic types of VPN is one, use a browser encrypting the traffic with SSL or secure socket layer, or TLS or transfer layer security. It is the same protocol to produce a lock like in the online or in the banking, online shopping or in the banking. And then second uses IPS, a version or IP protocol, internet protocol that incorporate encryption as part of the process of creating IP packets. So the message is sent like a packet to the other parties. Both types of VPN provide secure, but here remember there is a create problem too. In the VPN I have experienced something like this, whereas author who wants to submit their article to our journal AIS, they cannot submit the journal because the provider using VPN, and then it is not compatible with the server of the GISF. So the author cannot send or submit their article because of that, because automatically the server will the VPN in the provider will reject the server of GISF. So some author cannot submit their article because there is a security as a firewall, such as firewall. So the security of firewall in the server in VPN, it is not connected or it is not compatible with the VPN, so the author cannot send or submit their article. So how to make this for the firewall can be functioning with the VPN? So this is the what should the VPN do, but usually when I ask pusat computer center, they said that the author must change their provider, not the other way around, that VPN, server VPN or firewall in VPN must accommodate the VPN of the provider, because VPN also have to safeguard the server in VPN so they cannot be hacked by other parties, someone who wants to hack in VPN. So first, to configure the firewall to send encrypted package to the computer using DMZ zone. This is DMZ zone. It means that they're going to make the VPN familiar with the militarized zone, something like that. And then to configure the main firewall to allow encryption to enter the internal network. But be careful, because if there is a hacker using this channel or this tunnel, so the server in VPN will be vulnerable too. That's why the employee in the postcom, they said that offer must change their provider, not the other way around. So that's what happened if someone using VPN. Okay, especially if provider has their own VPN. This is hashing. What is hashing? Hashing is almost the same with encryption. That is to make the document is secure, but the difference like that. This is the difference between hashing and encryption. But before that, what is hashing? Hashing is a process that takes plain text of any length. Any length means it is can only one sentence or a word or one page document or 10-page document, and creates a shortcut called a message digest, popularly referred to as a hash. Okay. For example, the SHH 256 algorithm only creates 256-bit hash, regardless the size of the original plain text. What does it mean? Maybe we have to see table 12.2 first. This is the comparison between hashing and encryption. Okay, encryption, this is the output size are approximately the same as the input size. So using encryption, if you send one sentence document, it will be encrypted to a cheaper text and then decrypted again to the plain text. It is also one sentence document. One page document also become one page encrypted document. So 10-page document is also become 10-page encrypted document. And after being encrypted, all this document can be reversible or decrypted from cheaper text back to plain text. So different with hashing. Whatever long the length of the document, they can only produce transforming plain text only to a shortcut that is called hash. So whatever the length of the document, it is only one sentence document, one page document, on 10 pages document. The hashing only transform the plain text this document into shortcut that called hash. That is called hash. Okay. And again, this is only one-way function. After the hashing, the document cannot be unhashed to recover the original document. So you may think that hashing is not efficient to secure confidentiality or privacy, but actually it is not like that, since one document, and then if it is going to be changed or to be transforming into a code, and then we cannot make the code back to the document, it will be impossible to read the document. So what should we do? So this is said that it is important to send a hash of a document to another party. So people, or if the sender want to send a document, they can send the document along with the hash code. It is mean that the document can be sent with the hash code. So document is still the document, but before the receiver can read the document, they have to open the hash first. Okay. The property of hashing algorithm provides a means to test integrity of the document to verify whether two copies of a document stored on a different device are identical. So, when the receiver opens the document using hashing, so if the hash is identical, so it means that document is original. The same with the one being sent. Okay. Okay, I hope you understand about. And then another one to secure confidentiality and privacy is using digital signature. Okay, an important issue always been non-repudiation. Non-repudiation means cannot be cancelled, or how to create legally binding agreement. So the agreement must be binding, I don't know what was it in English, to unilaterally repudiated by either party. So each party cannot cancel the document since the document is bind legally. This is called digital signature. As in the traditional, if we make an agreement, one of the party will sign the document, and then there is a stamp in Indonesia like a materai, and the other party who signed the document also will sign with the same materai, and then they can change the document to make sure that document is genuine, it's original, it's the same one. So if using in the internet, how can we do that? We can do that by using the digital signature, a legally binding digital signature, using both hashing and asymmetric encryption. The resulting encrypted hash is a digital signature that provides assurance about two important issues. First, the copy of the document or file has not been altered. It means that it is original or genuineness. And second, who created the original version of the digital document or file. So they will know who created the original version of the file. This is the step in creating digital signature. First, step 1, the document creator uses a hashing algorithm to generate a hash of the original document. And then step 2, the document creator uses his or her private key to encrypt the hash created in step 1. And then the result encrypted hash is a legally binding digital signature. This is like that. So the other party can check whether the digital signature is really original if the hash, both hash is the same. For example, this is the example figure 12.5 about the digital signature. A customer creates a purchase order and a digital signature for that order. This is the customer. He creates a contract, and then the contract is using hashing algorithm to make a hash contract. Hash contract, and the contract is then sent to the supplier that uses the stated hashing algorithm to generate a hash form, its copy of the purchase order. So it is called the digital signature, and then the receiver of the supplier also uses the customer public key to decrypt the customer digital signature. So using the hash contract, and then is decrypted. If the hash is the decryption of the hash is the same, the result depending on the hash is a hash. If the supplier successfully uses the customer public key to decrypt the customer digital signature, it proves that the customer did indeed create and send the digital signature. So the supplier is certain that this purchase order is original. It is really evidence that the customer is making an order. This something like that. So it is also proof that the customer must have possessed some file or document that was first hashed and then encrypted using the customer private key to create digital signature. After the supplier receive the purchase order, and then the customer cannot unilaterally repudiate it or deny making the order. It is binding legally, so the supplier is protected by this digital signature, since it is really produced by the customer. Okay, this is the example for digital signature verification principle. Alice writes a message for Bob. In order to prove that the message has effectively been written by her, Alice signed by encrypting the message using her private key. So this is Alice using her private key to make the message, and then Bob received the message sent by Alice. In order for Bob to verify that the message is really coming from Alice, Bob decrypted using the Alice public key. So you can see here, Bob will certain that Alice really make the message, or if it is a purchase order, Alice really make the purchase order to order something from Bob as the supplier. Okay, this is something like this. And this is signature and encryption detail with hash keys. This is the difference. First, Alice sent a message and then calculated to make the hash using message digest. This is a message digest. It is mean that it is make hash keys, and then using public key, and then the symmetric key, one-time symmetric key. Using symmetric key, Bob will encrypt with symmetric key, and then the message, which has the hash keys, are encrypted symmetric key, so it is produce the same message with the digest and Puka is a public key. Alice using her public key to make the message, and then Bob using the same public key, since this is a symmetric key, to decrypt the hash key, and then the message received by Bob. So Bob certain that the message really from Alice. So PRKA means Alice private key, Puka Alice public key, Puka B is Bob public key. Where is Bob public key? Puka A. This is Puka A. Okay. As you can see here, the document is not encrypted. The encryption is only the hash key is sent along with the document. So when the husky is the same, when Bob is encrypted the husky, Bob will know that the document is really sent by Alice. Okay, something like that. This is also an example of decryption and verification using huskeys. A digest means that it is a huskeys with digital signature, but different from the previous slide. This is the document is encrypted. So beside there is a huskeys, there is also that the document is encrypted. It's different from the other one, the previous slide, that the document is not encrypted. So the process is the same, but now the document is encrypted, so it must be decrypted. But it is also can be verified that it is really after the document is decrypted to back to the plain text. It is also verified that the Alice is also the same, since if the huskeys is the same after verification. So Bob will certain that really the message is clear and it is sent by Alice. Okay. After there is a digital signature, there is also digital certificate, and how it is connected with the public key infrastructure. So what is digital certificate? This is the one. It's an electronic document that contains an entity's public key and certifies the identity of the owner of the particular public key. It means that it is an electronic document that proves someone has keys also. So the digital certificate, the function is similar to like a driver license or passport. Passport and driver license are issued by a trusted independent party or by the government, and using the passport, someone will assure that he is really who he is based on his passport. Okay, so this is a proof of the genuine, that someone is really the one, not the fake one. Okay, so digital certificate is issued by the organization. It is called certificate authority and contains the certificate authorized digital signature to prove that the one who get the certificate is a genuine. Like if you have a student card, so how do I know that you are my student? Is by you give me your student card. It is identification for you as a student in UPN, something like that. Okay, the digital certificate is similar, the function is similar with a student card. So for commercial certificate authorities such as DigiCert and Symantec typically issue digital certificate intended for e-business, but they will charge a fee to issue the certificate about a pair public and private keys. So the certificate will authenticate the private and public keys for someone who get or who have this digital certificate. So the infrastructure for this system for issuing pairs of public and private key and then make a corresponding digital certificate, it is called public key infrastructure or PKI. Digital certificates are valid for only specified period of time. Important factor is to verify the identity of the applicant. So before the authority issue this digital certificate, they must be certain that the identity of the applicant is right. Okay, the procedure to use it used to update certificate and revoke expired digital certificate. Okay, this is an example for digital certificate in Innova. Innova is for pajak, perpajakan tax. For PKP, pengusaha kena pajak, who want to make invoice, tax invoice. Okay, this is why that wajib pajak or taxpayers, they have to get this electronic certificate or digital certificate. It is required by the law to get it. So the wajib pajak or taxpayer, they can download their certificate from the Innova, which is the certificate for this tax is issued by the government in the tax department. Okay, kantor pajak ya, tax office. They can use this digital, download certificate digital, and then when they need to make a tax invoice, so the government is really certain that the one who sent the invoice or the tax invoice is genuine, because it is accompanied by a digital certificate. Okay, so this is the same one with the Alice and Bob, which is Alice sending a signed and encrypted message to Bob, revised it. It means that it is for audit trail. When the Bob signed encrypted message and then back again, if Bob encrypted the document accompanied by digital certificate, so first the certificate must be verified, and then if it is okay, then the message is for Alice, it is clear. It means that the message received by Bob is the same as the message, since the audit trail or the revised state of this transaction about decryption and signature is revised. So the message is really from Alice, with the certification is identified and valid. Okay, next is blockchain. What is blockchain? Now we used to see or hear about blockchain. What is blockchain? Blockchain is a distributed ledger of hash document with copies stored on multiple computers. So blockchain is a technology that is originally developed to support cryptocurrency in Bitcoin, to prevent double spending of the same coin. So the blockchain is distributed ledger. So if this is, as you can see here, how hashing update a blockchain. Step 1, begin by collecting a batch of document and calculating hash value for each document. This document 1, document 2, and then after it is hash using hash algorithm, document n min 1, document n, it is, and then this is the hash of document 1, document 2, and n. So when the step 2, validate the new block of process called mining. So this is the new block of the document, which uses 3 input, a random number called a nonce. the root has just calculated in step 1. So in the step 1, after collecting batch of document and then make a hash algorithm, pairs of those hashes are then concatenated together and the result is turned hash. Repeated until just one root hash for the entire block has been created. So step 1 is here, created a root hash for a block of document. So the block of document will have the same hash. This is the hash algorithm for 1, 2, 3, 4 document. And the document and then concatenate two hashes and the hash result. This is concatenate 2 hashes and the hash result. Step 2, validate the new block with a nonce, random, which is 3 input random number. Random number is called a nonce, or the root hash just calculated in step 1. Step 3a and 3b. This is step 3a and 3b. The newly validated block is applied at the end of the existing chain root hash for new block. And then the updated chain is copied to all other participants in the blockchain network. Step 3b in figure 12.6. This is only step 1. And then this use in the step 1. After this document is concatenate to root hash for new block. And next, this is the step 2, validate the new block and store the validation number in block header. So this is the root hash from step 1. Root hash for the last validated blockchain and nonce, a randomly generated number. Repeatedly using hash algorithm, trying different nonce in combination with the 2 hashes. So the hashes from the new block and the last validated blockchain, it is combined to generate a block validating hash value that begins with the new work agreed upon requisite number of leading zeros. This repetitive process is called mining. Repeatedly using algorithm, hashing algorithm is called mining. Okay, and then they will produce a new block, which is the block here. It is the same, the document will be the same as before, since this is the next block. There is also document 1, document 2, and document N1 and document N. And then step 3 is to append the new block to existing chain. So if there is already in machine 1 there already existing chains, so the newest block is append in this chain. And so on in the machine 2, also in machine N1, machine N, so all the computer will have the same block. So this is why it is called blockchain. Okay. So using this blockchain is very secure because they could go through the step 1 and step 2, and then the last document will already be secured by the hashing and encryption. It is added in the new block. So the machine 1 have block 1, block 2, block 3, and newest block. This is the new one. If there is another document to be added in this blockchain. Okay, the same thing happened to the machine 2, machine N1, and machine N. So So that is the end for chapter 12, and this is the reference is Accounting Information System from Romney and Stenberg 2020. You can see in chapter 12 about confidentiality and privacy. I hope you can now understand the difference between confidentiality and privacy, and also how to secure the confidential document and the privacy of personal information. You may also check the YouTube Warung Akuntansi, and thank you. See you next time with another tutorial. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.